Hereby call this open council session held October 1st, 2018 to order. I'd like to ask everyone to please rise for a moment of silence. Please be seated. Okay, there are no matters from closed session to deal with, so disclosure, pecuniary interest, and nature thereof for the open session. I have a couple that I just need to disclose. Item 9.1.9, Healthy Lake Scugog Steering Committee, and 9.1.10. Both of those Healthy Lake Scugog Steering Committees just mentioned Williams Creek, and I own a property, part owner of a property that's adjacent to that creek, and as mentioned on page 61, 62, and 66. So I will make sure those items are pulled separately and vacate the chair. And also on 9.1.24, Economic Development Tourism Advisory Committee, there's mention of Stockworth Sales Pavilion, and I own, my personal residence is across the street from that to Stockworth Development, so as in the past, any discussion on that, I will vacate the chair. It is just a mention in the update, so I won't pull that one specifically unless there's a discussion on the item, then I will vacate the chair. So any other pecuniary interest? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to announcements from council and then announcements from staff. We'll start with Councillor Watton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to congratulate the event organizers for the Fall Festival. We had over 600 people attend and over 200 cars, and an interesting one stopped by for about 20 minutes to just put us all into amazement. What is it called? A Bugatti. So it was very cool, and there was 12 chili vendors, so another successful event and a great day for it. Oh, and the judge's choice was Casey Forsage, and the people's choice went to Steve Waters and the country band.
Councillor Guido.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to congratulate the event planners for the annual Tyler Hanson Memorial Ball Hockey Tournament, which occurred this weekend. It's an event that's very near and dear to my heart, and it was held on Saturday and Sunday in the parking lot of Voss. And for those of you that don't know, the proceeds go to the PACT unit at Sick Kids Hospital, as well as Big Brothers Big Sisters of North Durham. It is a wonderful event to come out and show your great hockey skills, so I'd like to congratulate them.
Councillor Kett.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd be remiss not to mention the announcement of Durham Region's new CAO, Elaine Baxter-Taylor. This announcement comes less than a month before the election. It seems to me that with the possibility of less than half of the mayors returning, this should have been postponed for at least a couple of months so that the new council could make the decision.
Any other announcements from council? Councillor Drew.
I'd just like to congratulate the organizers for Art in the Park in Seagrave. Great event, and the Green Bank Soapbox Derby. It was a great day for both those events, as well as the Cartwright Chili Cook-Off. It was a very busy weekend. Thank you.
Any other announcements from council? Councillor Somerville.
Yes, thank you. The Port Perry Curling Club have succeeded to get to 60 years on their anniversary, and on Sunday they had a big party in the parking lot where they had free food and vendors and a great big huge cupcakes and lots of fun, lots of activities, and I got to pass out the cake. Not that I needed to because it was full of icing and my hands were covered in it. Anyways, it was lots of fun doing that. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no further announcements from council, announcements from staff. We'll start off with Chief Burney.
Thank you, Mayor Rowan. I'd just like to remind everybody in the audience and yourself as well as council that beginning Sunday, October 7th is Fire Prevention Week. And this year, we are going to be in the community as much and as big as possible. Starting with on Tuesday and the following Saturday, we'll be at favorite shopping locations, challenging local residents with their fire safety knowledge and hoping they pass my tests. We've had a good year, but we'd like to keep it going, right? Wednesday, we'll be performing fire alarms. That is a hint. Wednesdays, we'll be performing fire alarm tests. Okay? At primary schools throughout the community, as well as perhaps this building here. On Thursday, we'll be celebrating the fire chief for the day. And that person, I won't give you a clue who it is yet, but that person looks forward to meeting you, sir. On Friday, we'll be recognizing staff as well as community partners who have worked hard with us in promoting fire safety across the community. And I hope all of you can join us that night. And lastly, I'd just like to remind everybody that only working smoke alarms and CO detectors can save your life should a fire or CO emergency happen. Thank you.
Director Coleman?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to let council and residents know that the work on Scugog Line 8 bridge, we're making that bridge safe for pedestrians and cyclists, has been completed. It's not open to vehicles still. It'll still be closed for vehicles, but it's now the deck has been repaired, so it's safe for people to use it. The Seagrave Bridge rehab is well underway. If you go by there, you'll see the bridge is not there anymore. The deck has been removed. The trusses have been taken off-site to be recoated off-site, and they'll be brought back and reused. And there'll be some concrete work on the abutments over the next little while. Spring Boulevard is complete, as is Old Simcoe Road resurfacing, except for some minor work to be left. The hot box patcher is expected to be delivered this week, and staff will be trained on it shortly, and will be out using it in the very near future. And work is well underway for the youth center, and we expect to have an announcement shortly about the opening day for that.
Fantastic. So, looking forward to all those things coming into full effect, and the Hotbox Patcher 2 is as we know, we're waiting for that to be implemented, and the residents will really appreciate that, the hot mixture and being deployed, so really looking forward to those items. Announcements from staff, Director Newman?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to give you a little update on our office renovations that have been occurring within the municipal office. As a part of those office renovations that have been occurring here, there have been also security upgrades being done. The security upgrades began last year with the implementation of a new security system, which included new security cameras and access cards. These security upgrades have continued with current office renovations and have included 3 new security cameras in the file room, a new unique security system within the file room that only I as the clerk have access to, and the code for. New locks have been also being changed on specific secure areas within that file room, and again, I only as the clerk have the key for that area. I just wanted to give an update for everyone on the increase in security in the municipal office. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Great, thank you for that update, and glad to keep everybody up to speed on the security measures and that we have in place. Any other announcements from staff? All right, moving on to the next item on the agenda, we have presentations. So I have the honor and privilege of a young lady who's in attendance here today, and I'm just going to read it here while I have the microphone before I call up this fine young woman who, her name is Grace Patterson, and if you've read articles in the paper or if you followed along on what she's accomplished at a very young age, it's very impressive, and it's quite honorable to have her as a resident of Scugog. So I'll just read you what the certificate says here, so and then I'll call you up for opportunity to receive it and have a picture. I know your mom is also here, and there's also the Scugog Advisory Committee, our Scugog Accessibility Advisory Committee. We have here Diana Fletcher, who will also be presenting an award at the same time. And I know your mom Sharon is here and is very proud. So just bear with me as I read this this letter of recognition. So, Grace, it's our honor here as council, and I'm speaking on behalf of council and the residents of Scoog, as well as the staff, that you exemplify what it is to be a caring and giving individual. So we would like to recognize your achievement of winning an Ontario-wide Speakers Idol competition for elementary schools across the province, and it's an extraordinary accomplishment. And as many people who may not be aware of it, as a winner, you received a Changemakers grant to support Friends of Simon Wiesenthal Center for Holocaust Studies. But what's really impressive is that you used those funds as a grant to support bringing a Differing Abilities Day to Cartwright Central Public School, and you provided the students and the staff there with an opportunity to learn about disabilities and to participate in simulated challenges for differing abilities. And your goal was to help the students and staff to develop empathy related to the challenges for people with mental and physical disabilities, what they face for everyday activities. And these sessions are extremely valuable to participants, allowing them to experience firsthand some of the challenges encountered daily. And it is your care and generosity that inspire us all. And you've provided an important insight to your fellow students, teacher, and the residents who have followed you and read your story. So I want to thank you for your efforts in bringing awareness regarding differing abilities to the community. So I'd like you to please come forward to accept this award, and if everybody could give a round of applause for this fine young man. Great. Congratulations, thank you. You were an excellent example. Here's a certificate signed by me, but it's really from all the residents of Scoog. And you stand here for a picture for the paper.
Thank you. Congratulations.
I'll face this way for a moment. Okay. Again, congratulations, and I truly appreciate the kindness and giving, and it is truly heartwarming on all the philanthropic caring attitude you have, and it's catching. So I also want to call up the chair, Diana Fletcher from the School Accessibility Advisory Committee, to also come up here and present you awards. So again, I want to give you a round of applause for all that you've done. So you stay up here for your other...
I'd like to thank the council for accommodating our request today. Present this award today. And this is on behalf of the Accessibility Advisory and speaking to the folks. And we would like to achievement. Let everybody know that you have helped us create awareness of accessibility in our community, and you're helping us get our community that much closer to being the accessible community we want in 2025, to just be accessible. So that is awesome. Thank you. You're welcome. Congratulations.
Is there anything you'd like to say at all? You have the whole floor if you want to say anything.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you so much for providing me these awards, and thank you for having me.
And thank you for taking the time out, because I know you're busy with some dance competition or event, so I wanted to get you back to there so you're not there. So thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, next up is we have a consent agenda. So we have consent agenda moved by Councillor Drew, seconded by Councillor Guido. Save and accept for the items that are pulled, and we have some that have been pulled in advance. So start off with 9.1.3, Councillor Back has pulled. This is PCA minutes. And then I also have 9.1.9, 9.1.10, which are the two pulled for my pecuniary interest. 9.1.18, pulled by Councillor Back and Councillor Drew. 9.1.20, Councillor Guido. 9.1.24, Councillor Guido. And 9.2.2, Councillor Back pulled the regional report. Any other reports that need to be pulled? Okay. Anybody need them reread, or you have them? Okay, so again, final call for anything that's not pulled, because I don't want to come back to them, otherwise it'll be voted on. All right, so we'll vote on all those that have been on the consent agenda. So the items listed under Section 9 consent agenda be approved, save and accept the items as I've listed. All those in favor? Carried. Now we'll go to 9.1.3, which is Councillor Back.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So on page 31 to 33, with regards to the public meeting for the Oxnard property, it has listed comments from the public, but it doesn't have listed comments from council, and I thought that there were very important issues brought up, and I know myself, I brought up issues that I said I wanted on record, and I don't see them in the minutes, because we don't know, in another month what the outcome is, and I wanted to ensure for the residents that those items that I brought up were on record, and I don't see them.
Mr. Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and generally we don't put comments from council. However, we do know that the planner, and Director Heritage, I'm sure, can speak to this, is the planner has got them noted and documented, so they will be captured. However, they're captured by the planner.
Through the Mayor, where would they be in public documents then, coming forth in the future? Will they come when this comes forth to the next council, or where will we see those?
Director Heritage?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor. All the issues and concerns that were raised by both council and the public will be addressed in a table form in the recommendation report that will come forward for council's review and consideration.
So I need a mover and a seconder for that, for the Matters of Planning and Community Affairs Committee held September 17th be adopted. Councillor Watton, seconded by Councillor Drew. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Next item are the two items that I've pulled for pecuniary interest, 9.1.9 and 9.1.10, so I'll ask Councillor Guido just to have them moved.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I have a mover and a seconder for 9.1.9, please? Moved by Councillor Watton, seconded by Councillor Kett. Are there any questions on the minutes? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, one more set of minutes, Mr. Mayor. 9.1.10, can I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Somerville and Councillor Kett. Are there any questions on the minutes? All those in favor? Carried.
Thank you, Councillor Guido. I just didn't want you drinking all my water over here, that's all. So next up was the pulled Councillor Back 9.1.18 School Grants Advisory Committee. So before I get you to discuss it, Councillor Back, I need a mover and a seconder for this report. Councillor Back, seconded by Councillor Somerville. Councillor Back.
Thank you, and it's on page 99, it's section 6, and I know our treasurer was not at this particular meeting as well, but I hope she can help me on it because I was not at this meeting as well. The $1,000 to the Uxbridge Swim Club, competitive swim club, are those for students, or competitors that are from Scugog, or are we paying for an Uxbridge program?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I would have to follow up with the committee. I'm not sure. I would...
Do you know?
Councilor Guido?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. While I'm not on that committee, if we're referring to page 97, for the, is that for the Junior National Swimming in Winnipeg? No, it's on page 99, section 6, $1,000 to the Uxbridge Swim Club Competitive Swim Club to assist with cost of pool and coaching expenses. Okay, I don't see that on 99.
Actually, page 103.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, it's 99 for old school, and, I'm just wondering, I know that there are, or have been in the past, Scugog residents that are on that swim club, and I just wanted to, before these get approved, know that, because, I just sort of, it was an outlier, and I'm usually on this committee, but I was absent, so, I just don't want us paying for Uxbridge programs, if that's the case. I'm sure it isn't. I'm sure that it is benefiting I do know that Scugog. we have, well, Hannah Cornish is one example of a Scugog resident that's on this Uxbridge Competitive Swim Club, but I can't speak to that. I thought we were talking
Right,
about
and actually, the last grants committee, herself and her sibling actually received grants as well. So I'm just, this one is an outlier to me that I know it needs to get passed today, but at the same time, it's, I wonder.
Does anybody else have any information on that, Councilor Drew?
No, Mr. Mayor, I pulled this as well. I had the same question.
So, procedurally, I'm trying to think of a way, if this is, probably, Scugog residents requesting it that are on the, because we obviously don't have a competitive swim club because we don't have the, pool in Scugog, so, that's what, I read into that, and it was 335 of the, not the full 1,000 requested, so, if there's a way that we can conditionally approve this, and I'll look at the clerk procedurally, if we pass this with the, a condition or an amendment on there that it, ensuring that it's for Scugog use, so, I don't know, Mr. Clerk, if you have any suggestions or comments on them.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you to council. You can certainly do that. Just pass it, save and accept that one, subject to whatever you wish, subject to it being residents of Scugog, possibly, I'm hearing.
Councilor Back, did you want to move that, since you're a mover and Councilor Somerville's the seconder, you want to move that amendment that the minutes be endorsed, but then save and accept as the clerk had just summarized?
Yes, I would move that amendment.
Do you need that clarified in the wording of that, or you're going to take, just for the benefit of council, I just want to read out how this is worded? So, the advisory committee held September 19, 2018 be endorsed, which has these approvals in here. Save and accept the, it's 6, right? 6 Uxbridge Swim Club. Save and accept 6 sub 6. Subject to verification that Scugog residents are the recipients. So, Councilor Back, are you, I'll get the clerk just to read what he has on this amendment, just to make sure you're okay with it, and then we'll go to the seconder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So have that the minutes of the Scugog Grants Advisory Committee held September 19, 2018 be endorsed. Save and accept that item 6 sub 6, which shall be passed subject to confirmation that the recipients are Scugog residents.
Okay, Councilor Somerville, yes, okay for the mover and the seconder. Any other questions on that friendly amended motion since they were the mover and seconder? All right, seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Councilor Drew, that's why you had also pulled that report then. Okay. All right, next item is 9.1.20, which is the Waterfront Phase 2 Advisory Committee, pulled by Councillor Guido. Before we start, Councillor Guido is the mover. You have moved it as minutes of the Waterfront Phase 2 Advisory Committee held September 5, 2018, be received and referred to staff. Do you have looking for a seconder for that as opposed to it being endorsed? Councillor Watton. Councillor Guido, did you want to speak to it?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Other than just wanting to ensure that any financial commitments are referred to our budget process for the recommendations that were out there, that was it.
Members, any other council members wish to speak to it? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Next item is 9.1.24. Councillor Guido, Economic Development Advisory Committee, Tourism Advisory Committee, September 14th. Councillor Guido, are you moving the recommended motion?
I will move it, but I would also like to request for 2/3 to do an amendment to that.
What is the amendment?
The amendment is that I would like to submit a request to the Region of Durham to include this in their 2019 budget planning. It's my understanding that while it was a pilot project, they omitted to include it in their 2019 budget plan. We only received their employee graciously. We received their employee just most recently, and we would like to really have a proper trial to see if that is an appropriate position to have for the part-time tourism employees. So I would like to request that we submit or pass a motion that the region considers adding this to their 2019 budget.
So yeah, just to clarify, I know what you're talking about, but it's to, you want to explain what it is that you're asking for them to include in the budget?
Sure. So we championed the Region of Durham, seeing as though tourism is a true responsibility of the region. We championed them this year to have, similar to our economic development resource, funded through the region. We championed for a part-time employee to be here focusing on this tourism for Scugog, and we were successful in receiving that, but we would like to see that extended into 2019, and without their budget consideration, it won't be funded by the region. We have a tourism plan that is jam-packed with items, and it's just starting to get traction, and without this resource, we really will take another step backwards in the tourism area.
Sorry, and I was just verifying there, the request for the 2/3 majority is because it was not on the agenda, but you're adding it to the, to this advisory committee so that it can be sent to the Region of Durham so that they can have it for their budget discussions, deliberations, because if it's not in their 2019 budget, and if they don't hear from us,
then we'll lose it.
It'll be harder to put something in if it's not been requested format. So does all of council know what the amendment is and requirement? Okay, so I need a seconder for that, Councillor Drew, and are there any questions on that amendment? Mr. Clerk, have you captured it? Do you need any clarification? You got it? All right.
Unless you want me to read it.
Does the council want it reread? I think everybody understands what we're asking for. Okay. And we require 2/3 because it's an amendment that was not on the agenda. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. So, thank you very much. Next item is 9.2.2. This is the regional report. Councillor Back, are you moving the report, Councillor Back? Second by Councillor Drew. Councillor Back.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had asked in June, the last council meeting in June, with regards to the repaving of Simcoe, and the residents on Castle Harbour had requested the region make our turn lane going on to Castle Harbour longer, and in the process we've actually have no turn lane now, which is causing a huge safety concern because you either break the law by going over a solid white line, or you take a 90-degree when people are starting to accelerate. So I would ask that question to our regional councillor in June, and I have with bated breath to hear what's going to happen, because nothing's happened yet, and I haven't heard a response.
I don't know, Councillor Drew, if you have any insight to that?
No, a heads up would have been very helpful. I could have had an answer tonight, but...
Through the mayor, I asked this on our last council meeting in June before the summer recess, and the same response was had. I asked our regional councillor to get me an answer. We were off for 2 months. I didn't hear anything, and here I am again. I have residents that are asking, they're very concerned, and I would like our turns lane put back in, but more importantly, I would elect a response, because I have to respond to my residents. So it's been 2.5 months.
I don't know if you have anything to add to the...
No, I don't. I haven't heard from these residents myself, but I will certainly follow this up tomorrow. Thank you.
Councillor Drew will follow this up right away, and I'm just looking at, Director Coleman, have you heard anything, because the residents and, and issues and complaints also will come through to the staff level, and just curious if you've heard anything. I know it's a regional road, but quite often we're the front line and get the questions.
No, Mr. Mayor, I haven't heard anything directly from a resident to me about that issue.
So, and the turning lane is to Castle Harbor, right? And I know that councillor for that would get the brunt of all the questions, concerns, but I just
yes.
haven't driven up that road recently, so...
As you can imagine, when you're knocking on doors, you get lots of questions. So I was asked in June, and that's why I asked the question in June, and I'm asking again, so I expect to have an email response this week, so I can tell my constituents that actually use that road.
And just so I'm clear on it, on Simcoe Street, the turning lane into Castle Harbor, and this is going northbound?
Going northbound, and you would be turning east, and it used to be a dotted line and a turn lane. We asked for it to be longer, and it was just completely eliminated. So now it's a solid white line, and you have some people that then literally go straight on Simcoe until they get to Castle Harbor, hard brake, and take a 90-degree.
Is the road paved there still?
It's part of the repavement that they did.
So it's just the line painting?
The line, yeah.
Line painting, so it's not a major fix, it's just the painting of the lines?
No, but it's a major safety concern, because we either fear we're going to get a ticket for breaking the rules of the road, or we're going to have an accident.
Okay, so Councillor Drew said to look into it, and I'll, also, if I'm in discussion with anybody at the region too, I'll, do my best to seek that, but I'll look to Councillor Drew is gonna look into it tomorrow, so we'll get a response back. Okay, so, any other questions on the regional report? Councillor Guido?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Drew, regarding the feasibility study for the automated speed enforcement in community safety zones, I think the only school that we have on a regional road would be Greenbank. Is that's correct? No?
No.
No, so we don't have any schools in Scugog that would benefit from this? We do?
Not at this point, but it is a pilot project, and if that works out, then we will look at extending it, and perhaps suggesting to the different municipalities that we move ahead with that.
Can I ask what it is? I'm just curious, because that's something that we've heard a lot of, is in school zones that they would love
It's very much like, as I understand it, it's very much like that unit that the police came and told us about a couple of years ago, that they were hoping that...
In the tree,
yeah, it's like a...
Spy box?
It's like a radar gun, but it takes all of the speeds and so on and so forth.
So something similar to that?
This time that, I think it also takes the license plates.
Okay, that'd be interesting to see.
Something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the regional report? All right, seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. And there were no further items extracted, so we're moving on to the no notice of motions, new business and general information. Council, any new business? All right, seeing none. Confirming bylaw? Councilor Guido?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm looking at the clock, and it's 7 o'clock. I wasn't expecting us to be at the end of the agenda already. It's not really new business, but more as a thank you. Thank you to staff and to my fellow councilors. This is our last council meeting, and I'd like to thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your leadership in this term of council, and I honestly didn't think our last council meeting would be 30 minutes, so on your last one, well done.
Well, thank you very much, and I was going to, right before we adjourn, just make some comments. We do have to do the confirming bylaw still, but I do want to thank all the residents and thank council and staff. I look at our strategic plan, I look at our accomplishments, and I feel very proud of what we've done. There's still lots to do, but I'm very honored to have had the opportunity to be able to have a voice for the community, to implement changes, modernizations, but also to continue on great work from past councils. And I know that there's a new chapter before us with the election just looming at the end of this month. Many of the ballots are already out there, so it's as I drive through the area and I see the election signs, it reminds me of pounding those election signs in myself, and all the door knocking. I know it's a time of unknown people. It's a great opportunity for democracy to be able to hear the community, and everybody has an opinion. It's nice to see that people are running for council, because the worst thing to do is to complain and not put your hand up and get involved. So the fact that there are people running for council, I greatly thank them for that, because it's not an easy job to subject yourself to the public opinion, because no matter what you do or say or decide or vote upon, there's always going to be somebody that disagrees with you. So you can't please everybody. But I do want to specifically thank each and every councillor here, because I think that we've accomplished a great deal. We haven't always agreed on everything, but that's democracy. Using respectful diplomacy, I would, look forward to seeing the new term of council and continue along with the torch. We know that there are a couple more councillors that will also, guaranteed will not be moving on to the next term of council. So we have a whole new pool of candidates that are out there. So it's nice to have differing perspectives. I am very proud to have served the community. Great learning experience. There's not saying that I won't dip my foot into politics again. It's just the chapter of my life now was not the opportune time for me to continue on, and I'm thankful there are people that are crazy enough to continue on with political life. The regional councillor members that at the Durham region, I know that there's a lot of perspective at the region that we don't get here, but after you spend 4 years over there, you get to appreciate what happens there in the inner workings of the municipality of Durham. I'd like to thank the staff at School Township here. It's been a pleasure working with all of you, and I know my term is not officially up yet, but this is the last official council meeting, so I do want to thank all the staff, because you guys work tirelessly. I know that there's many a nights you guys are working to burning the candle at both ends, and it's often not known how much work you guys put in, and not often thanked, but I know how much you guys work and appreciate it, and that's my biggest wish for the next term of council, is that the staff are recognized for their great work that they put forward, and I feel truly honored to be a resident of Squlag and have this current staff in place. I know we've had since the beginning of council to the current place that we are in council, some changing faces, a lot of retirements, and we've had people moving on to different regions or counties, and so we've been working with the current complement of senior management specifically for the last half of this council, and it's been great. I think we're firing on, 12 of 8 cylinders. That's why I feel as you guys are truly working, how much stuff that was done and checked off, and look, like, again, back at the strategic plan, how much was accomplished. And I mean, just listening to Director Coleman with the youth center and the hot patching, so we're gonna get away from the cold patch mixing, and we're talking about the bridge in Seagrave, and we're talking about the Line 8 bridge, and then the Line 6 that there's so much work that's been done, and then there's all the budget's been rehauled in the finance department, the fire chief is new, and it's been a whole revamping of that process in there, and we've got Director Heritage with planning, and there's been a complete shift in the corporate structure and realignment and bylaw officers, and I just thinking that we've got clerk, Mr. Clerk that's in here, we've got it streamlined. I mean, just for an example, how we get through a council meeting now, I mean, that kudos to all of the work that's been done, and I know change is hard, and as we go through the advisory committees that we went through, and the clerk took on a lot of changes with there, and in mid-term that's hard because people are used to things, but I know that this next term of council is going to have a great head start because so much work has been done, the policies that have been changed, how much has been modernized. I mean, we're talking policies that haven't been touched for decades that the staff has had their fingers on, and I mean, I'm remiss, I don't want to be missing anybody that's here, but I want to spend some time with our CAO, Mr. Allure, who's come aboard with as a non-resident who became a resident, and that's how serious he was, because he knew that he wanted to make sure that he was not just speaking from another municipality, but he came from another municipality with a great deal of experience, and also made the commitment and moved to our great township, and has worked so tirelessly modernizing and has his fingerprints on so many changes and so many great things. And again, it's not easy because some things are changed from the traditional formats that have been there, but so many modernizations, so many great things, accomplishments, and I look at all the meetings that we've had and all the call them the Monday meeting agendas that we rhyme off, and even like today, if we spend 2.5 hours going through all of these items, and I think about how much is still on the plate of the senior management, but how much has been taken off and accomplished, I feel truly proud, and this this council has also been a great support for that, and that's what I'm asking and I'm hopeful for. I know there's candidates in the audience too, and I really want to recognize the staff and the work they've done, and also the council, and so I know the non-senior management staff that are not represented here. I know that there's a couple, but there's a great deal of the staff. We have an excellent workforce. I mean, you look at how much we get done in this municipality compared to other municipalities or larger municipalities, and I know that some of our senior management came from larger municipalities with bigger budgets, and they look at how much we accomplish with the budgets that we have. So when we talk about other municipalities and what's getting done, and things we've done, like even internalizing IT from taking it as an outsource, I mean, I feel we're miles ahead now of other municipalities that have had haven't necessarily made those changes. So a big thank you to all the staff and senior management and all the councilors. So again, I know this is the last official time that I'll have the microphone, and just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I hope that the election, I wish you all the best and all the candidates the best, and we'll continue on. Councillor Barry?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and you will be missed, and I just wanted to speak on how you nod to our senior staff, and I believe each and every one of us really truly appreciate the intelligence, the experience, and the professionalism of all our senior staff. It is with your leadership that you've actually inspired all of the employees in this building to do their best. We have all of our employees now eagerly engaged in the budget process for their department. That is light years ahead of many departments and many municipalities who operate in silos. So you've really got a team spirit here, and as you know, teams are led by great leaders. So we have a great, strong
senior staff, and we really do appreciate all of you coming to our little town.
Any other final comments before we go out there? I know, I want to walk that fine line of, we don't want to be campaigning, but Councillor Drew? No, that, I'm just saying, I just want to caution people, I mean, I'm tearing up here because it's emotional for me, and I don't get emotional usually, but it's a time when, you know, I'm not going to have, I do get to keep this because that's my name on it, so my poor wife, you know, she's going to be like, what are you doing? So, yeah. So, Councillor Drew?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I don't really like to do this, but I have a bit of unfinished business. There were some comments made at the last meeting, and I'm wondering if it has been resolved to the satisfaction of the clerk. And I have another comment after this.
Mr. Clerk, I just, I'd conferred with the clerk, and it was content to lie low with the, I wasn't here at the last meeting, so, but I just wanted to make sure that everything, and I know it's a sensitive time because we're close to an election, and I think it was just, if it wasn't brought up, then we were gonna leave well enough alone.
If it satisfies the clerk, then that's fine. But I too also want to thank our senior staff. It's been challenging in many ways in the past few years, and you have forged ahead, each and every one of you, along with our mid-management and all of our boots-on-the-ground people, and you've done an incredible job for us, and got an incredible amount of work done for us on our strategic plan that we developed together, and I want to thank you most sincerely, and I hope that the next 4 years are going to be very fruitful for you and for this community. Thank you.
Any other councillors? I want to make sure everybody has equal opportunities to say. Well, I can speak on... Okay, and I think that speaking on behalf of all the councillors, I mean, I want to thank you for all the hard work, and I truly want to thank the residents for their trust and confidence, and I know that it's a process that we go through, and I really, I don't know how a lot of staff in public, in municipal offices, how they get a new council every 4 years, and you don't know what you're going to get dealt with every 4 years, and I think that's really hard on its own to deal with for anybody who's worked in the private sector like myself for so long, and you think that it would be very difficult to deal with every 4 years and not knowing what direction you're going to be being asked to take, and then you have to follow along with that direction of council. So kudos out to you guys in there. It's not a cozy, cushy job, as some people would say. It's a hard job. So, thanks again. Okay, I need a mover and a seconder for the confirming bylaw. Moved by Councillor Watt and seconded by Councillor Kett. All those in favor? Carried. And then I moved by Councillor the adjournment, moved by Councillor Somerville, seconded by Councillor Kett. All those in favor? Carried.